Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for holding today's hearing. We certainly appreciate it, and thank you to the witnesses for taking the time to come out here. I, for one, am certainly thankful that we have a president who is willing and capable of identifying a clear, direct, and narrow strategic interest for the United States and pursuing it aggressively, appropriately, and at times, when necessary, with overwhelming force. As we know, this was an illegitimate dictatorship in the Western Hemisphere in our own backyard that was destabilizing our region, operating as a hub for some of the most violent and ruthless and dangerous criminal cartels in the entire world, as well as for other of America's foreign adversaries that were creating migratory pressure that America has a clear and obvious strategic interest in tamping down. So I'm glad that we have a president who is looking out for us. Thank you again to the witnesses for being here. The Government Accountability Office has recognized Venezuela as a major drug transit country and asserts Venezuela was responsible for about 10 to 13% of global cocaine movement. Further, Venezuela hosts multiple transnational gangs, including the foreign terrorist organization designated Tren de Aragua and the specially designated global terrorist organization Cartel de los Soles. The drug cartel's trafficking of fentanyl and other narcotics kill tens of thousands of Americans annually and is therefore and rightfully considered by the White House as an armed conflict. Mr. Blackman, I want to start with you. How many drug smuggling vessels would you estimate passed freely over water to the United States before President Trump assumed office?
I have no idea. I'm guessing it's a very large number.
Very large number, thousands as far as we know. Could you just walk me through how the Maduro regime would aid drug trafficking to the United States?
Well, I think the allegation is that the Maduro regime basically operated as almost like a coordinator of all these various entities, including Tren de Aragua. And this is basically the predicate of the president's decision to impose the boat strikes, and which I think is closely linked to the decision to arrest Maduro.
Yep. And as we know, President Biden's open border policies allowed millions of people into our country that were totally unvetted from all over the globe to come into our United States and petition for dubious claims for asylum, claims that were dubious at best. Recognizing that kind of opportunity, I think Maduro opened his prisons and expelled thousands of criminals from Venezuela, knowing many of them would make their way to the United States, set up criminal enterprises here rather than there. Biden's Venezuela temporary protected status designation granted quasi-legal status for all Venezuelans, including criminals who make it to the United States. Between March and September 2021 alone, U.S. Border Patrol encountered nearly 47,000 Venezuelans, rising to more than 187,000 in fiscal year 2022. About 1 million Venezuelans are estimated to be in the United States as of 2026 this year. To put that into perspective, there were about 28 million people living in Venezuela in 2024. That means that a significant portion of their population lives in the United States. Ms. DeAndrea, thank you again for being here. Were there any foreign state sponsors of terrorism active in Venezuela?
I believe the evidence shows that there was, yes.
Yep. And what geopolitical adversaries were they associated with?
There were Iranians and Hezbollah, I believe.
Right. That's right. Do you think that these terrorist groups use Venezuelan trafficker contacts to smuggle themselves or other terrorists into the United States?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And that made the United States less safe, you would say, wouldn't it?
Absolutely.
Yep. I agree, and I think the American people agree as well. And I think most of them are pretty satisfied that we have a president, again, who is pursuing our interests and our region and doing so aggressively and legally. So with that said, Mr. Chairman, I've got a variety of unanimous consent requests. If that's
Without objection.
First of all, an article from the National Review by John Yoo. The Trump administration's actions in Venezuela are constitutional. An article from AEI, also by John Yoo, The Long History of Presidential Discretion.
Without objection.
Article from CBS News, Maria Corina Machado says Maduro capture will go down in history as the day justice defeated tyranny.
Without objection.
Article from Fox News, Rubio vows to eliminate Hezbollah Iran operations from Venezuela after Maduro capture.
Without objection.
Document from the White House designating cartels and other organizations as foreign terrorist organizations and specifically designated global terrorists.
Without objection.
Another document from the White House, designation of international cartels, a fact sheet.
Without objection.
Document from the Department of the Treasury, Treasury sanctions Venezuelan cartel headed by Maduro.
Without objection.
Another article, quote, Admiral saw alleged drug boat strike survivors as legitimate targets, defense official says.
Without objection.
That's it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, gentlemen.